Match 477? My favorite shows. Put a happy face on your sheet. Fabulous TV show. Yeah, yeah. You like that? I didn't watch the show anymore. Back in the 70s and early 80s. But it's on reruns. Great show. It still holds the record for the most watched finale of any series ever. Still MASH. Amazing. Yeah, one of my absolute favorites. Definitely top. Yeah. MASH.
Why are you going for?
I was trying to think about that. Maybe the new Battlestar Galactica, that was up there. It was a great series of all time.
Yes.
Deadwood probably would be up there. Maybe Rome, although it was short, it was so good. All right. If you have a marker, what I want you to do is I want you to come to the board, and I want you to write on the board, just best you can, some example of commerce. Some example of something you think Congress, or anyone has thought Congress can make rules about. Take a moment, let's see what you come up with. What is commerce? It can be as general or as specific as you want. Let's see what you come up with, and hand your marker off to somebody else. I'm just curious as to what you think after all that you've heard. What is that? What is commerce? Give me an example. Be it specific, and I'm sure I'll erase a bunch of them. And
I don't want it.
what is commerce include? Power to make rules about what? Congress has the power to make laws regulating commerce. What does the word mean?
Merging. There you go.
Be as general or as specific as you like. Thoughts and bonds. Good. That's good. Driving laws. Good. Okay. Anything. Just pick anything. Okay. Good. Prostitution. That works. Doesn't mean they really have this power. Put a bunch of stuff up there. Foreign trade. Okay. Pick something.
Abortion.
You can pick a topic, you can pick an industry, you can pick a method like buying and selling or transportation or...
Okay, I'll go put healthcare up there.
Okay, food,
Right?
good.
I'm sorry.
Hand that marker off to somebody. I want more stuff up there.
Don't take mine.
This is a hard word.
Don't take mine.
Maybe they can regulate broadcasting. Maybe they can regulate, I don't know,
Don't they try?
healthcare or something. All sorts of stuff. Take a moment. Take a moment. What can they regulate? Now, all of these might not be what they actually do regulate, but, you know, what can they regulate? I can see markers up there. Grab a marker. Then you can write a little note, a little happy face. If you want.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's
Right?
pretty broad. That's why I was like, man, what?
Anything they want. Whatever comes up.
Well, if they pass healthcare, that's really anything they want.
All right.
Did you give this back to him?
Well, I left it up there.
Passing around the room isn't working? All right. Let me add some more stuff up here. Trade between states. Let me just put up some general terms.
Anything they want.
Certainly buying and selling, or what we know as trade.
Water
Perhaps.
restrictions. There you go.
And again, a lot of these are good. Manufacturing. So how the goods will be made or manufactured. Transportation.
border laws.
Oh, good. Okay, good. So look,
Transportation.
now,
Immigration.
food, certainly, we could think about food safety. We could think about the meat inspectors. I mean, there's all sorts of, we can be as specific or as broad as we want. There's a lot of things that the federal government, cars, prostitution, anything they want. Certainly, you'll see the word economy mentioned, that it has to have some effect on the economy. So whatever it is, it has to have something to do with buying and selling something or something for profit.
Immigration. They regulate all that.
Broadcasting, stocks and bonds, electricity, absolutely. Our job, as with marijuana, of course, you have the Gonzales v. Wright case, so on. Our job is to figure out, again, I'm going to say this over and over again because it's important, is trying to mark the line between the federal and state governments. All of these things are important. You have to have laws about all of these things. Certainly, how many laws you have to have, or which laws you have to have, we can debate about. But certainly, these are all things that should be regulated to some degree or another. The question is, so you should write down, who should do the regulating? There's one question I like to ask. Should the states do it? Or should the federal government do it? That's question one. A lot of times, both of them will do it. Question two is, what should the regulations be? That's more of the policy question. So if you're going to regulate prostitution, what should the laws be? Well, we could make it illegal completely. Okay, or we could make it legal and make prostitutes get health exams every year. Do that. Limit where they can advertise, where they can be. I mean, there's lots of, in Nevada, for example, at least outside the city limits of Las Vegas, you can drive out 60 miles out to the bunny ranch. And, I'm not there. But, and you can go to, there's a brothel. There's several brothels in Vegas, but the two big ones are the chicken ranch and the bunny ranch. I think MTV or some HBO, someone had a TV show about one of them. I forget which one it was. Anyway, but in Las Vegas it's illegal technically, although you can always get escorts and prostitutes, but technically it's illegal. We could legalize it. I mean, Congress could make a law. It depends. Or you could leave that to the states. And some states would probably legalize it. I'm sure Nevada would be among them, like they have. In some states, I'm sure in Texas, it would remain illegal. So all of these things, what is the reach of the federal government? That's one question. And again, I'll write this on the board because I think it's important. Again, you have the policy question versus the constitutional question. If I do anything in this class other than just make you suffer in pain and anguish, I want you to come out realizing that the Constitution is important and we should at least think about what it means. We can disagree about what it means, but we should at least think about it. I don't want you to have, if there's one view I will not tolerate, it will be the view that doesn't matter what the Constitution says. I don't like that view. I will mock you. Now, not all progressives have that view. A few of them do, though, and I mock them. If you want to say that, well, the Commerce Clause is broad and applies to almost, I can respect that to a certain degree, absolutely. At least you're looking at the Constitution and at least making it part of the conversation, but don't tell me it doesn't mean anything. Don't tell me it's irrelevant. Don't live in some tyranny if you want to do that. I don't have time for that. We live in a constitutional republic. We have a constitution. It matters what it says. Okay. That's my intolerance moment today. Now good. Now that's commerce. So difficult. Gibbons v. Ogden once again. Somebody impress me and tell me what that case said. Gibbons versus Ogden. What is that case? What are the facts of that case? Right. No, go ahead. Go ahead. What was that case about?
They told New York you can't limit the driving through the waters.
Who told New York that? Go back to your notes, or go to the actual case, it's right up here.
Was it New York statute?
New York had a law. What were they doing?
They were trying to give exclusive rights to certain people to navigate steamboats in the state waterways.
Exactly right. They were giving exclusive privileges to people who had gotten a specific license to operate their boats in New York. Someone who didn't have that license, but who had been granted permission to sail all around the Atlantic, complained. Ogden was trying to put Gibbons out of business, obviously. If you don't want competition, just make it illegal for the competition to be there at all. You can try that. Didn't work. The court ruled in favor, so I'm going to make a little chart here. Here's the federal government, here's the state government, here's the case Gibbons, which every first-year law student learns. Federal government won that battle. Check mark for that. Yay. The federal government doesn't always win this battle, but in this case they did. The court ruled in favor of the Commerce Clause allowing Congress to basically override what New York wanted. Okay. Now, the important passages I had named from that case, can somebody remind me, point us to a paragraph on one of the, I believe it starts on page 65, if you have the copy of the case. It's a long case, but the copies here are abridged. Someone give me an important paragraph. I'll give you a clue, the top of page 66. Okay? Some of you have that. If it were me and I were sitting there, I would probably have Taco Bell and not KFC, but that's just me. That's what I would probably have, but no. But I would highlight all the paragraph on the top of page 66. Because that might be a paragraph that might show up later on something, on the exam. Well, he says the subject to be regulated is commerce. And we have to ascertain the extent of its power. Now, some people want to limit it to buying and selling, or to trade, or to traffic. That's all they want to limit it to. But what the court says in this case, that it is intercourse. And the court says that includes navigation and transportation. Okay? So the court expands. What New York wanted to say is, Congress, you don't have any power to regulate transportation of goods. That's a state issue. And if we want to prohibit goods from being transported in our state, we get to do it. That's what New York wants to say. And we'll give it our licenses to whomever we want. No, you can't do that, the court says. I don't think so. The regulation of commerce includes transportation. That's a big deal. So any other state that had laws like this, trying to restrict trade, those would have been struck down. That's a big deal. That's a big blow to the states. Okay, so Gibbons, round one for the federal government. Okay, this is an 1824 case, by the way. Now, Gibbons does say, in the third paragraph of page 66, okay, third paragraph of page 66, it does say that the completely internal commerce of a state is reserved for the state. It does say that, okay? So it acknowledges that there are limits to the Commerce Clause. Gibbons does not say that Congress can do anything it wants. This is what the Chermaninsky guy wants to say, the guy from the video last time. This is probably what President Obama would want to say. Right or wrong, that's what he'd want to say. He can have broad authority to do anything. That's not what Gibbons says. Gibbons says if it's a purely local concern to that state, it should be reserved for that state.
Can you close that?
Can I close?
That's
Oh, I'm sorry. The completely internal commerce of a state is reserved. Now, somebody impress me. Where's my little shoe?
Oh, we need it back there.
little happy face on the line to the first person who tells me this answer. Where in the Constitution does it say that if the U.S. government doesn't have the power to do something, that the states get to do it? Where does it say that?
Article 1, Section.
Article 1, Section 8 gives us the list of things the U.S. government can do. But if it isn't on that list, the Constitution says someplace that if it isn't on that list, then the states have that power. It's reserved to the states. Where in the Constitution does it say that?
10th Amendment.
Thank you. The 10th Amendment. Happy face for you. Now, I'm one of the few people, not few people, but I'm one of the people who actually I think takes the 10th Amendment seriously. The 10th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution says, let's bring it up. This is something, of course, you should know. Federalism depends on the 10th Amendment, of course.